Kia ora te whānau. Welcome back to another episode. This episode is all around forgiveness and the power of forgiveness, what it means, why we should, why we don't, and more so around a lot of the resistance that we hold towards the concept or the idea of forgiving others and forgiving ourselves. And in this episode, I'm hoping that you'll take away different ways that you can start to forgive yourself and others, and what forgiveness actually allows you to do and what it allows you to become. And I just want to, I guess, start off with saying that when we forgive, it doesn't mean that we are saying to the universe or that we are saying to this other person that may have done us wrong, or whether it's to ourselves, that we think that what has happened was right. It's not us saying that we're okay with being hurt, or that we're okay with actions that have been done, or whether we're okay with whatever has happened to us and whatever situation it is that you are needing to forgive someone or to forgive yourself. That isn't what forgiveness is, and that's not what forgiveness should be used for either. To be honest, I don't know what you would even call that if you weren't using it for the purpose of what forgiveness is actually for. So if we look into forgiveness a little bit more and what it actually means, for me personally, and forgiveness and anything that we experience or go through or learn about or build our knowledge around, we will always have our own perceived belief around what it means and the meaning to it. And I always love this quote around nothing has meaning until we put meaning to it. Just like things that have negative connotations or things that we perceive to be bad, the only reason it's bad is because someone at some point in time has said that it was bad. And the flow-on effect and the conditioning and the programming around that this thing is bad allows us to believe that this is why it is this way, or why it is good, or why it isn't good, or why it's amazing, or why it's not amazing. And you get the idea. So when it comes to forgiveness, I want you to ask yourself, what does forgiveness mean to me? Because I love asking this question of what does X topic subject mean to you? I love asking this question to people because it starts to unravel so much about who you are as a person and what your beliefs are and what your perception of life and the map of the world looks like. So just allow yourself to kind of ponder on that question, and you can pause this if you want to have more time to think about it. Otherwise, I'm going to give you my belief of what forgiveness is. So to me, forgiveness is the ability to disconnect or detach yourself from the suffering. And so what this means is that if someone has hurt me, or I've done something wrong, or I feel like I've done something wrong, forgiving myself or the other person allows me to detach myself from the suffering of that emotion or that feeling or the guilt or the shame. It doesn't mean that I forget about it. It doesn't mean that I don't remember it, or that I don't think that there's anything to learn from it, because that's not the case at all. When we forgive someone, or more so when I forgive someone, I'm allowing myself the room and the space to move through the learnings and to move forward and to create more space for myself and others that are meant to come into my life to fill back up with new experiences, new learnings, new lessons, new success. And the thing that happens is that when we don't forgive, is that we're continually holding on to something that we can't change. And essentially, when we aren't able to forgive, or when we're holding on to these things that have hurt us, or these things that have caused us pain, or that have caused us to suffer, we create more suffering in holding on to this thing, because we are constantly reminded of this experience or this person or ourselves or the act that has happened that we weren't pleased by. And by holding on to this, we are causing the suffering. Now, in a book by Rhonda Byrne, I want to say Byrne, she's the author of The Secret. She wrote, her latest book is called The Greatest Secret. And in this book, she talks about how we cause our own suffering. Pain is in the physical, suffering is mental and emotional and spiritual, and the internal aspect of pain. And the thing is that we cause majority of our own pain because we don't let go, we don't surrender, we don't forgive, we don't move on, and we hold on to all these past experiences and these past wounds and these past traumas egotistically so that we can feel protected and that we can feel secure and that we can, be the big masculine energy that we need to be so that we can protect ourselves when it happens again in the future. But the thing is this, is that the harder and longer we hold on to something, the more suffering we cause ourselves. So just think about this the next time you are wanting to forgive someone, whether it's yourself or someone else, and ask yourself, do I want to forgive this person / myself, or do I want to keep suffering and living this life where I'm in suffering all the time by this memory, by this emotion, by this feeling that comes up every time I think about it because I don't want to let it go because I don't want them to win. Air quotes around win. Because egotistically as well, our ego likes to hold on because it likes to be in control. It likes to feel in control. It likes to know that we're secure, more air quotes, secure around, our life, what we're controlling, what it is that we're allowing or not allowing into our lives. But by holding on to these things, we are allowing suffering. We are allowing and choosing to have more suffering and pain go on within our bodies, within our minds, within our heart, and within our soul. Whereas if we just let go and forgive and learn and heal and move on, all of that dissipates and goes away. So 3 things that forgiveness does. The first one is that it frees your soul, your heart, and your mind from unnecessary suffering. So literally what I was just talking about before. By forgiving either yourself or someone else, maybe the dog, maybe the fact that it was raining on a day that you wanted it to be sunny, or whatever. Maybe you're forgiving the universe. When you forgive, you allow yourself freedom from the suffering that is causing you. Now, this may trigger you. This may make you feel even more guilty or shameful for holding on to whatever it is that you haven't been able to let go of. But just remember that this is why we are here. We are here to learn. Our souls chose our bodies and this planet and this lifetime so that we could learn and heal from these things that we've gone through. But in order to heal and go through these things that we've gone through, we have to, at some point, forgive, whether it's ourselves or someone else. And by doing this, we free our soul, we free our heart, we free our mind, we free our body from the suffering that has been going on for however long you've been holding on to it. And it's not to say that you haven't known that you needed to forgive, or maybe you had no clue that you needed to forgive a person because of something that they did in your past. And by holding on to it, it's caused this ripple on effect of everything else that's happened. The second thing that forgiveness does is that it frees the other person from you. Now, if you've had a falling out from someone, if you've had a breakup, if you've had a, run-in with someone that you didn't know was going to be there, or whatever the situation is, by forgiving the other person and forgiving yourself at the same time, you free this person from you, in terms of you free them from your energetic field. You free them from your energetic aura or bubble of suffering. Because we need to remember that energetically, anything that we hold on to in terms of someone else, we are holding on to a piece of them. And by forgiving, it allows us to let go and detach from this person emotionally, energetically, spiritually as well. And by doing this, it frees them as well as it frees us. And I think there's like a deeper sense of unconditional love when we can fully forgive someone else and ourselves and let both of us be free to continue on our paths and do what it is that we were brought here to do. Because again, egotistically, we want to be, the winner, air quotes around winner. We want to be the winner. We want to be the one in control. We want to be, at the same time, the bigger person that forgives them first, or we want to be the person that, is stubborn and wants to be like, no, they should apologize to me first and rah, rah, rah. When at the end of the day, all of that just causes more suffering. All of that just causes more angst, more upset, more anxiety, more depression, more stress, more burnout, everything, because we're holding on to not just energy, but emotions and feelings and experiences and later on trauma that we could have let go of if we just forgiven ourselves and forgiven someone else. The third thing that forgiveness does is allows you to make room for love. Now, when I was talking about freeing the other person from you and cutting that energetic cord, what this does is that it allows you to make room for more. It allows you to make room to receive a new love, whether it's from yourself, whether it's from someone else. Remember that anything that we attract into our life is a mirror of our inner world. So if we aren't fully giving ourselves love, that's what we're going to receive back. People who half love us, or people who aren't fully capable of giving us the love that we expect them to give us. And so being able to make room for this love by forgiving others, by forgiving yourself, and most importantly, forgiving yourself, allows you the room to have space for new love to come in, whether that's love that is made by you, whether that's love that comes from someone else, whether it's a friend, whether it's a new partner, whether it's a family member, whether it's your dog. I don't know why I like chucking in the thing around a dog, but I think just secretly, like deep down, I really want a dog. But anyway, we allow this room, and it's the same when we surrender and let go of anything. When we do this, it allows us to make room for more. And I know that if you're watching this, you're someone who, or watching this or listening to this, you are someone who is here for more. You are here to do more, to be more, to have more, to see more, to feel more, to think more, to be more than what you have right now. And at the same time, I know you are probably a little bit impatient. You're like, why isn't the universe just giving me everything yet? Why do I have to wait? Why do I have to do all this old deep healing shit? Why can't I just have everything I want right now? The thing is that you can have everything you want right now, but you have to do everything else first. And don't worry, I've been through the same thing myself for the last however many years, like 6+ years of this time that I've been doing shadow work and healing and doing my own inner journey, self-discovery journey, self-mastery journey, this whole time. But it got to a point where I realized that we have infinite amount of time. And even when we die, our souls are still gonna carry those karmic wounds to the next place that we reincarnate or pop up in. And so it's not so much about healing everything in one day, because that's not how it works. It's about understanding and learning that this is a journey for a reason. And the more that we are able to understand and learn and have these tools and understand the magic that's truly within us, particularly around when it comes to forgiving ourselves and forgiving others, it creates that ripple on effect, that positive ripple effect, and not just ourselves, but others around us too. So I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can forgive yourself and others. So all 3 of these things work for either forgiving yourself or forgiving others as well. The first one is breath work. Now, when I feel like there's like this negative connotation around breath work in the non-spiritual society, of, oh, but it's like all bullshit and blah, blah, blah. And that's cool. If you're watching this, I'm 99.9% sure that you are someone who is on your spiritual journey. So you won't have any issue with listening to this. If you do, however, for those who are a bit on like the math side, have an open mind about it. Because if you've made it through this far of this episode and you're still here, try these out and see what they can do for you. So the first one is breath work. Now, breath work is very simple. I like to differentiate it from meditation in a way that you can do breath work literally anywhere. Like I could do it right now if I wanted. I wouldn't have to close my eyes. All you are doing is focusing on your breath and allowing your breath to take you on the journey, allowing your breath to process what it is that you're going through. Whereas meditation is more around visualization and allowing things to process mentally as well as physically as well. So there's many different ways to practice breath work. There are many different modalities of breath work. And I'm sure if you are into breath work, you would have already had a look through many of them and tried many for yourself. But for the purpose of this episode, I'm just going to explain it in terms of a way that you can use it to forgive either yourself or someone else. So when you picture your breath and you're breathing in, you breathe through your nose. As you breathe in, imagine that every breath in brings new love, new light, new energy, new essence into you. Then as you breathe in, imagine, or you can say it out loud, I forgive. And then on the out breath, breathing out through your mouth, say the person's name, whether it's yourself, whether it's someone else, and picture it being released. Picture the energy, picture the modi, their life force exiting your body. And what this does when you do this multiple times is that you start to realize how simple the act of forgiveness can be. Now, it's not to say that if you do it once, like you're gonna forget about this person altogether. That's not what forgiveness is. It's about allowing your body to somatically process what it is that is going on intellectually in your mind. So doing this practice, and you can Google research other different types of breathwork modalities as well. If you're wanting to try different ones, that's absolutely fine. It works the same. But using your breath to release and forgive either someone else or yourself has so much magical properties in it. And I've been doing this for like the act of forgiving for just over 2 years. At the start, it was really hard. Now it's quite easy. Doesn't mean that I ever have to not forgive this person or myself again. But the act of doing it, remember, is to allow yourself to free yourself from the suffering. And if that's the one thing you take away today, let it be that forgiveness is the release of the suffering. The second way that you can forgive yourself and others is by meditation. So there are millions and millions of meditations out there around surrendering, letting go, forgiveness. Any one of these will get you started if you have not yet done this. If you are a veteran meditator or a quite a experienced or advanced person of meditation, you may already have your favorites. I recommend that you still do this every day if you can, or at least some point during the week, because the more that we hold on to, the more that we carry that isn't ours to carry, the more tired we get, the more drained we get, and we don't really understand why. So the more often that we can do it, the more better we can feel, and the more likely we can know when it is that we're holding on to something that isn't ours. A mantra that I love to use as well when I am doing any forgiveness ceremony or forgiveness practice or breath work or meditation is the mantra return to sender. Because this mantra of return to sender can be used for emotion, it can be used for acts or behaviors, it can be used around anything that you feel like you're holding on to that isn't yours. And the mantra of return to sender sends it back. The third way that you can forgive yourself and others is by using the full moon. Now, I have been working with the full moon, the moon in general. I want to say on and off for the last 2 years, but more so like consistently in terms of like monthly when it goes through the lunar cycle for the new moon and the full moon, the last year and a bit. So kind of like last lockdown, New Zealand's lockdown last year in 2020. And the power of the moon, it's amazing. Like if you're a moon baby like me and you like love the moon and you obsess over the moon and every time you see it you're like, oh my god, and you're just like looking at it like a freaking possum looking into like headlights. That's me. If you're this person, I see you, I feel you, I understand who you are. But using the full moon and the energy of the full moon for forgiveness is like the next level magic that you can do. And being able to do a full moon forgiveness ceremony is super, super easy. I recommend you go and check out Yasmin Boland on Instagram, or you can check out our website. You can buy a book all around moonology, and it's got all the practices in there as well. I won't go fully into the ceremony process of it here, but there is another way that you can do it. If you are wanting to know more around forgiveness ceremonies and you wanting me to make a episode around this, then let me know and I can. Otherwise I'll do one eventually, but if you're like, no, give it to me now, then if you ask really nicely, I might do it for you. So you can send your requests over either in the comments below here if you're watching this on YouTube, or you can send me a DM over on the gram at Rising Synergy. But the full moon forgiveness ceremony is just like that next level. It allows you to write a list of all the people that you want to forgive, even if it's people that you thought you'd already forgiven, but you want to do the process again. There's no right or wrong way to forgive someone. It's all around how you feel afterwards, in terms of, do you feel like you've released them enough, or is there still parts of you that you're holding on to? And it goes deeper into that as well. So those are 3 ways: breathwork, meditation, and full moon energy. There is obviously millions of other ways, but those are the main 3 that I'm going to give you today. So hang around, and I would come and hang out on Instagram, where I share more around forgiveness and committing to yourself and putting yourself first. So I'd love to know what came up for you from this episode, whether it was you're not forgiving enough, whether maybe you're forgiving too much, but you're not doing it with intent. So it's not really, working the way that you want it to. Just know that my doors are always open for conversations over on Instagram. And, obviously I'm not there to answer like all of your questions and all of your like deep-seated like trauma experiences that you've been through, but I'm more than happy to go through this with you on a deeper level if you are committed and wanting to work through this for yourself. If you have any questions around anything that has been talked about today, again, feel free to come over to Instagram and ask me over on there. Or if you're watching this now, you can pop a comment below. But otherwise, I just want to remind you that there is so much power in forgiveness. There's so much power in letting go of things that aren't even needed to be held onto, because your ego is just trying to protect you and trying to keep you safe, when in reality, you, at your core and at your soul level, are able to keep you safer than what your ego can ever keep you safe at. So just remember that little message. Feel free, and I would absolutely appreciate and love you so much if you took a screenshot of this episode and put it and shared it over onto your Instagram story and tag it Rising Synergy, so that this can become its own little ripple effect here in the cyber world and the real outside world as well. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your sister, your brother. Don't tell your dog because he doesn't have opposable thumbs. But otherwise, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for committing to yourself and allowing yourself to come on this little journey with me around forgiveness. And I hope that at the end of this, you are on your journey, or at least closer to being able to forgive someone that you have been needing to forgive for a little while, or at least forgive yourself for not being able to do that. So again, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a great time. We will see you on the next one.